On February 24, 2022, the world woke up to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Over the last few months, Russia amassed over 100,000 soldiers at the Ukraine border, while the Russian government denied any plans to invade Ukraine. However, things have quickly changed and the invasion has resulted in the highest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II, with over 2 million refugees fleeing from the conflict in Ukraine. A symbol of hope during this crisis is Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who is the president of Ukraine. He has refused to back down from the Russian threat and has mobilized Ukrainians to fight for its democracy. Join us as we explore the story of Volodymyr Zelenskyy, Leader of the Year. Volodymyr Zelenskyy was born on January 25, 1978 to Jewish parents in Kryvyi Rih in the then Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. His dad, Alexander Zelenskyy, was a professor and the head of the Department of Cybernetics and Computing Hardware at the Kryvyi Rih State University, while his mother, Rima Zelenska, worked as an engineer. His grandfather, Semyon Zelenskyy, served in the Red Army during World War II. Volodymyr Zelenskyy grew up in Ukraine speaking Russian and lived a normal life. At the age of 16, he passed the TOEFL exam and received a scholarship to study in Israel. However, his father did not allow him to travel. He enrolled in the Kryvyi Rih Institute of Economics and graduated with a degree in law, but chose to pursue a different career. As a student, Volodymyr developed an interest in theater and joined a local acting and comedy group in Kryvyi Rih called Kvartal 95, which means Quarter 95. In 1997, Kvartal 95 appeared in the televised finals of the Club of the Funny and Inventive People competition, a popular comedy competition that was broadcast across several countries in Eastern Europe, and they won. From 1998 to 2003, Kvartal 95 performed regularly at the Club of the Funny and Inventive People, with the team spending a lot of time in Russia and post-Soviet countries. In 2003, Zelenskyy co-founded Studio Kvartal 95, a production company that will grow to become Ukraine's most successful and productive entertainment studio. Zelenskyy served as the artistic director of the studio from its creation till 2011, when he was named the general producer for the Ukrainian television channel Inter TV. During this period, Zelenskyy started acting in movies. In 2008, he starred in the film Love in the Big City and its sequel, Love in the Big City 2. He also featured in Office Romance Our Time in 2011 and Rzewski vs. Napoleon in 2012. In 2014, the Ukraine and Russia crisis began with the annexing of Crimea. Part of Ukraine's response to Russia's role in the crisis was to ban Russian artists from Ukraine, which Zelenskyy spoke against. However, his protests fell on deaf ears as the Ukrainian Ministry of Culture banned Russian artists and other Russian works of culture from entering their country. In 2015, Kvartal 95 released a hit television series called Servant of the People, where Zelenskyy played the main character. In this series, Zelenskyy played the role of a high school history teacher in his 30s who won the presidential election after a viral video showed him ranting against the government corruption in Ukraine. This role was pivotal to Zelenskyy's rise to the Ukraine presidency. In 2018, Kvartal 95 registered a new political party that was called Servant of the People. Zelenskyy did not publicly announce plans to partake in the elections, and said Kvartal 95 registered the political party to prevent other parties from using this name. However, the opinion polls told a different story. 180 days before the general elections, Zelenskyy was the leading candidate in opinion polls. On December 31st, less than 100 days to the election, Zelenskyy announced he was running for president of Ukraine. His announcement drew more attention than the New Year address of President Petro Poroshenko. Zelenskyy's presidential campaign was heavily virtual. He did not deliver long speeches or a detailed policy agenda. He instead leveraged social media, releasing short video clips on his presidential agenda. Zelenskyy portrayed himself as an anti-corruption, anti-establishment figure. He made comments about bringing professional and decent people to power. He was called out by journalists for avoiding traditional media sources and responded that he did not behave like the people of the old power who held talk shows with no action. During the campaign, Zelenskyy drew some criticism because of his links to the oligarch Ihor Kolomoisky. President Poroshenko and his campaign team claimed that if Zelenskyy won the election, it will benefit Russia. On April 19, 2019, at the Olympiyskiy National Sports Complex, presidential debates took place. In Zelenskyy's introductory speech, he acknowledged that in the previous election, he voted for Poroshenko, but he was mistaken. We were mistaken. We voted for one Poroshenko, but received another. The first appears when there are video cameras, while the other sends greetings to Moscow. Zelenskyy declared that as president he will attract investment to Ukraine and develop the economy by restarting the judicial system and restoring confidence in the overall system. He also planned tax exemptions and a 5% flat tax for larger corporations that could be increased. According to him, if people noticed that his new government worked honestly from day one, everyone will start paying their taxes. Zelenskyy won both the first round of elections on March 31st and the runoff election on April 21, 2019. He was elected president of Ukraine on April 21, 2019, beating the incumbent Petro Poroshenko with nearly 73% of the vote. One of Zelenskyy's key agenda is for Ukraine to join NATO, the North American treaty organization, to bolster Ukraine's security and defense. In 2008, NATO welcomed the aspirations of Ukraine and Georgia to join the alliance, but the then president of Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, said there was no need for his country to join NATO. In 2014, Viktor was removed from office, and the new government was open to joining NATO. The Parliament of Ukraine adopted a legislation in 2017 reinstalling NATO membership as the country's objective, with amendments made to the constitution. In 2020, Zelenskyy approved the development of a distinctive partnership with NATO with the aim of gaining membership. As a partner, Ukraine is allowed more information sharing and access to joint military exercises with the organization. Ukraine's plan to join NATO has come with stiff opposition from their neighbor Russia. In 2008, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia may target its missiles at Ukraine they join NATO. In 2021, President Vladimir Putin asked for guarantees from the West that Ukraine would not join NATO. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a large-scale invasion of Ukraine. They are different reactions to war. In some countries, the leaders fight, while in others the leaders run away. Zelenskyy has stayed in Ukraine and has galvanized Ukrainians to fight the Russian invasion. He has remained in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, and has drawn support from all over the world. The US, UK and European Union have all sanctioned Russia. Switzerland, which usually remains a neutral state during wars, has also sanctioned Russia. Zelenskyy still uses his presidential campaign strategy of releasing videos on social media to encourage citizens to fight for their country. He was offered the opportunity to leave Ukraine, but turned the offer down, and has remained on the ground. No one knows how the war will end, but Zelenskyy has shown immense leadership, and has stayed back in Ukraine to fight Russian invaders. Now you know the story of Volodymyr Zelenskyy.